This video talks about how I made the motor stringer clips and then mounted the frames to the stringers. So my motor stringer clips, I actually made them. I started with 8/4 stock of genuine mahogany and ripped the pieces on my table saw. And here are some intermediate pieces. And so since frames 1 through 6 are the only frames that need motor stringer clips, frames 7 and 8 are mounted differently, and I have another video that will describe that. But so you have 6 pairs, and the clips up for the frames towards the front actually get a little shorter as you move forward. So these shorter ones are for frame 6. And you can see the edges on these are sharp, corners are sharp. I did round them off because for sharp corners it's hard to encapsulate and have it encapsulate well when you have sharp edges like this. And also, depending how I do my flooring, it's possible these clips, some of them might be where your toes are going to be, and you don't want to stub your toes on sharp corners. So this is showing how I use my laser to periodically check, make sure they're centered, and these frames actually are just setting on here. They're not mounted yet, but I periodically did that as I went along. And this is showing frame number 6. It's just dry fitted right now, and what I did is I pre-drilled the holes. You can see I have two holes going this way that go through the floor timber and the frame, and then 2 holes that go in this direction through the stringer. So what I did is pre-drilled the holes in the clips themselves, and then I've got a picture showing them how I clamped them actually on the stringers and frames, and then used my hand drill to drill through the floor timber and frame, and also the stringer. And you can also see these edges are not rounded off yet, so these are not permanently mounted yet. And here you can see how I actually did that. I would use clamps, and I clamped a level on here to make sure it was level, and then these are pre-drilled holes. You can't really see. Well, here's one. You can see that hole there. Then I just use my hand drill and drill through the stringer in this case, or through the frame and floor timber. And then you can also see the edges on these clips are now rounded off. And here you can see frames 5 and 6 attached now. And here's just another intermediate frame where I have just showing how I used the level again. And this picture is showing after they're all attached, and what you can see up front is frames 5 and 6. Actually, the stringer clips have to be on the inside of the motor stringers because there's no floor timber outside of the stringer per the plans, and I wanted the clips to actually go through the floor timber and the frames for more strength. So you can see frames 5 and 6 have these string clips on the inside, but then I did for frames 1 through 4, those clips I have them on the outside, and I definitely wanted to do that where the engine was because I didn't want to have any interference with the motor, and but then just to be consistent, I put them on the outside for frames 1 through 4. Plus, I'm doing the utility version of the Monaco, and I plan on recessing my floor in between the stringers a little bit, and so I didn't want stringer clips there either. And this is showing how I used my laser, again, set it towards the back, and also to position to make sure the transom frame to help me make sure the notch was centered and everything. And this also shows how the transom frame mounts on the stringers themselves. The stringers inside to inside edge are 26 inches, and that's what the outside edge to outside edge of these vertical members are, 26 inches as well. And I haven't drilled the holes yet. What I did is I used 2 bronze bolts in each of these mounting points. So you can see though how the transom frame actually mounts to the back of the stringers. In this picture, what it's showing, again, the all the frames are mounted now and attached, and what I'm doing here with my laser is marking the center of each of these frames, so then I know where to cut the notches for the keel. And so I've got another video that will talk about making the keel and mounting it, and I show a little bit of detail how I cut those notches. So the keel's 4 inches wide, and so I just would mark 2 inches on either side of this center line, and that's how I knew where those keel notches would go. So that's how I did that, mounting the frames and everything and preparing to mark the notches for the keel.